LA Writer, America on Two Wheels is brought to you by the Louisiana Office of Tourism Trails and Byways Program. Louisiana is full of stories. Yours begins here. Southeast Louisiana Gumbo, great roads, interesting destinations, and terrific food. Come to Southeast Louisiana. And Houma, Louisiana, your passport to adventure in the heart of Louisiana's wetlands. Also brought to you by Iberville Parish, the heart of plantation country and the soul of the Atchafalaya.
For some strange reason, the refrain of Hank Williams' Jambalaya was echoing in my head as I drove up to the Houma Convention and Visitors Bureau. No, it wasn't jambalaya or crawfish pie that was on my mind on this beautiful fall afternoon. Instead, I was thinking about having big fun on the bayou.
Hi, TW. How are you? Welcome to Houma.
If you're going to take a ride in Louisiana's wetlands, you'll definitely want to make the Visitor Center one of your first stops. They have all sorts of maps, brochures, and guides, including one that's designed with motorcyclists in mind.
You go across here on Highway 57, and you get to see the marsh. It's just you and the road and marsh on either side of you, trees and grass. It's real peaceful. Sometimes, at certain times of the year, you can see birds and different types of wildlife while you're going down there.
Well, that sounds perfect for a motorcycle
Exactly.
ride.
We even have a mobile website, so if you're out
Wow.
out in the middle of the marsh, you can check our mobile website if you need a phone number and address.
Oh, sounds great.
Great.
All right, off I go.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you for stopping in.
Okay.
Enjoy your trip.
Thank you. Armed with dozens of maps and brochures, I headed out for my wetlands adventure. But before heading out into the marsh, I decided to stop in downtown Houma for a visit to the Waterlife Museum to learn more about the importance of water to this area and how it impacts all of America. It tells the story of Louisiana's wetlands and the vital role they play in this region. From a huge mural which depicts a coastal timeline to exhibits on shipping, seafood, the oil industry, and wildlife. Boy, I'd like to see the guys on Swamp People catch one of these. Just outside the museum, I stopped to view the Acadian Odyssey Monument. The monument was dedicated in 2011 and commemorates the 1755 deportation of French Acadians from Nova Scotia by the British. More than 7,000 Acadians died during the forced exile. Many of the survivors ended up in Terrebonne Parish and other parts of South Louisiana. Today, of course, they are known as Cajuns and have contributed much to the rich culture and heritage of this region. Just across the bayou, there's a beautiful fountain which features a statue of a Native American woman and her 2 children. The fountain and statue commemorate another group of people who played an important role in defining the culture and heritage of this area, the Houma Nation. From the fountain, I took a stroll down the bayou and a brief walking tour of downtown Houma. Then I headed over to the Regional Military Museum.
Welcome.
Thank you. Let's go for a tour.
All right, sounds good.
Now, lots of towns have military museums with planes, tanks, guns, and such. But this museum has something very unique. Houma's Regional Military Museum features living history. On any given day, you'll find real-life military veterans here, ready to share stories of their military experience with you.
So the Navy took off, left the Marines by themselves. They had to airdrop ammunition and food and water to these Marines and submarines to help them out. And they were fighting, 20,000 Marines fighting almost 100,000 Japanese on Guadalcanal.
In fact, the museum was actually started by veterans who like to meet, swap stories, and share memorabilia. Today it has grown into a pretty big facility that includes some pretty important artifacts, like this plane, which once was in the service of President Dwight Eisenhower.
We have some of the flight logs in here, as well as the story of us getting it from the Louisiana State Museum in Patterson, the Museum on Aviation.
Well, museums and monuments are great, but it was time now for a little field research. Soon I was on the Roadstar and headed south for the first leg of my swamp tour. A trip down LA 57 to Chauvin, Louisiana, and a visit to a very unusual place.
I fish alligators because it's in my blood, and I love it, and we are the real Houma swamp people.
Everything my dad taught me was hands-on about alligator hunting, and look, I still have my hands. If anybody never been to a swamp, you're missing out. You need to get out and enjoy the outdoors.
You'll see alligators that's on land, sunning themselves. You'll see different birds.
So if you want to see the swamp, come out and get on a tour.
You can stay home and watch this on TV.
Or you can come down to Houma and experience it for real.
Ian Gonzalez, Baton Rouge's top spot for more than 75 years, carrying the best. With brands like Kawasaki, Honda, Yamaha, ATVs, street bikes, off-road, power equipment, and more. If it's fun and excitement you want, we've got it. Shop online or stop by the capital city's largest showroom. Great deals at great prices every day. G.N. Gonzalez, it's how you roll.
From magnificent rolling hills to peaceful bayou vistas, Southeast Louisiana is the perfect place for a weekend ride or an extended motorcycle vacation. Take a swamp tour an antebellum home, pass a good time at a Fais d'Odo, or just take a ride along Old Man River. We've got it all. Great destinations, friendly people, incredible food, and authentic music. Come ride Southeast Louisiana. There's a motorcycle memory awaiting you around every corner.
Feeling free as a bird now. Fly little, gonna see the whole world now. Try little. These days are better than before. I want more. These days are better than before. I want more. These days are better than before. I want more.
Geico Insurance. See how much you could save at geico.com.
Over the river and through the woods. Well, in this case, across the Industrial Canal and down into the marshlands. I was finally on the road and headed on the first leg of my Houma Wetlands adventure. Following the motorcycle tour map I picked up earlier, I was headed south on Louisiana Highway 57. Leaving the city behind, the landscape quickly changed as we drew closer to the coast. Soon rural pastures and housing turned into beautiful grasslands and marsh. It wasn't long before I noticed that there didn't seem to be anything just beyond the horizon, and the highway had become a narrow strip of asphalt, with bayous and canals on one side and marsh grass and lakes on the other.
All I need is a fishing pole. It's so quiet out here. This would be a great, peaceful place to come and just fish.
What a wonderful place to hang out and enjoy nature, up close and personal. This young couple had just gotten out of school and decided to take a last-minute fishing trip. How great is that? Next stop on my wetlands ride was the Cecil Lapérouse Grocery, located at the intersection of Highways 57 and Little Caillou Road between Chauvin and Cocodrie. This is one of those must-stops on any wetlands excursion. You'll find everything you could possibly need right here, from household goods and groceries to penny candy and even hardware. How they get all this stuff in here, I just don't know. Back on the highway, I headed for my ultimate destination, the Chauvin Sculpture Gardens. But soon a sign on the water tower caught my attention. With a name like Robinson Canal, I just had to stop for a moment, and I'm glad I did.
Look at the bayous here, and the shrimp boats all lined up, ready to go out or just coming back in.
A little further up the highway, I crossed over the bayou onto Bayou Side Road, and in a few minutes arrived at the sculpture gardens.
This was one of the top things on my list that I had to see.
For more than 10 years, bricklayer and self-taught concrete artist Kenny Hill lived on this lush bayou property, creating more than 100 concrete statues. Then one day, following an argument with the landowner, Hill just walked away and never returned. Nicholls State University, with help from a grant from the Kohler Foundation, bought the property and saved the statues from destruction. But the story behind their meaning is left for us to determine, since the reclusive Hill has never returned or talked much about them, except to say it's about living and life and what I've learned. A walk through Hill's sculpture garden is a deep emotional and spiritual experience. It's a little eerie too, as you begin to feel as if you somehow climbed inside the artist's head and are experiencing his emotions firsthand. We may not know exactly what Hill was thinking when he created his concrete garden, but we're certainly glad he did it, and that it has been preserved for all of us to experience.
At Peak Performance Physical Therapy, we treat the athlete in everyone, from long drivers to unlucky drivers. If your doctor prescribes physical therapy, ask for Peak Performance by name, getting you back in the game of life.
I'm T.W. Robinson, and if you like riding off the beaten path as much as I do, then you need to check out Louisiana's scenic byways.
They've got everything a motorcyclist is looking for. Terrific scenery, good roads, and interesting stories. And of course, the best food in the country.
If you want to experience Louisiana, come ride with me off the beaten path.
Louisiana Scenic Byways, motorcycle tours ready-made for riding.
Come to the Cajun coast. It ain't heaven, but it's mighty close on that Cajun coast. All night, let's go, no better place to turn life around. Have a bite, it's alright. So much to see, to stay and play. You two can be found on that Cajun coast.
Hey, this is Eric Edwards with Livingston Parish Convention and Visitors Bureau. Whether you're looking for a great time on your bike in a more populated city atmosphere like Bass Pro, or you're looking for a scenic tour along LA-22, we want to show you how biker-friendly we are right here in Livingston Parish. We have a lot of great rooms, RV parks, and of course the Tickfall State Park. Go to our website, visit livingstonparish.com, or call us, email us, and we'll help your bike ride to be the best it can be. Hope to see you soon on your bike in Livingston Parish.
No matter what you do with your hands, they are important to you. Injury and disease of the hand, wrist, and forearm can range from mildly irritating to debilitating, putting the things you love out of reach. Dr. Joe Morgan of the Bone and Joint Clinic of Baton Rouge is a noted hand specialist and recognized as one of the best doctors in America. Dr. Morgan specializes in operative and non-operative treatment of hand injuries and disorders. So don't let problems with your hands spoil your ride. Call a fellow rider. Call Dr. Joe Morgan.
At Peak Performance Physical Therapy, we treat the athlete in everyone, from the soccer star to the soccer mom. If your doctor prescribes physical therapy, ask for Peak Performance by name, getting you back in the game of life.
All right, let's do some fishing. Yeah.
If you're gonna catch the big fish, you gotta get up early. Fortunately for the big fish, the sun has to be up for quite a while before this chrome cowgirl is up and at 'em. Day 2 of my wetlands adventure began at the Bayou de Large docks for a morning fishing trip and swamp excursion with Captain Wendy Billiot, also known as Bayou Woman. My primary goals for the day were to catch some fish, tour a scenic swamp, and somehow stay warm. A few minutes out on the open water suddenly made the first 2 goals seem unimportant. But once the boat stopped and the sun rose a little, staying warm wasn't as much of a problem. So Wendy baited my hook for me and showed me how to use a casting rod. Look out, redfish, TW is after you.
Whoa, look how high that went. Ooh, man.
Perhaps the redfish were as cold as I was, because they sure weren't biting. So Wendy took us to another spot to try our hand at some speckled trout. Same thing here though, no bites, not even a nibble. Time to move again, Captain Wendy said. One more try in one more place. This time a new rod and reel with red beads and bait. You know how much I like red. And oh yes, a fresh coat of lipstick, just in case I was scaring the fish away.
Oh, yes! Oh my gosh! Oh, look at him! He's fighting! He's fighting me! Oh my goodness! Look at him! Oh, he's so pretty! Oh, look at that! Oh. Is that a trout? I can tell.
Well, this is a trout.
Okay.
This is a white trout, though. This is not a speckled trout. This is edible. He's a little small, so we'll try to get the hook out and put him back. But this is called, some people call this a sand trout. But isn't he pretty?
Well, it wasn't a keeper, but that's okay. At least I'd caught something. And just so I'd know what a speckled trout looks like, Wendy hauled one in for me. Now that I had caught a fish and seen another one, it was time for the real purpose of my visit here. Within a few moments, Wendy was guiding her boat down a peaceful bayou into an incredible cypress swamp, the last remaining cypress swamp in Lower Terrebonne Parish. Over the years, coastal erosion and saltwater intrusion have wiped out thousands of acres of natural swamp like this one. And Wendy doesn't want to see this one fall victim as well.
And if you noticed, and maybe when you leave you can notice on Highway 315, look off to the east. There are miles of dead cypress trees, and they have been killed from saltwater intrusion. These have not yet been so negatively impacted by a saltwater storm surge that they've been able to recover each time.
Wendy and many others in this area are doing everything they can to call attention to the problem. Wendy says restoring the wetlands, like coastal erosion itself, is a slow process, but it's one that must be done because the alternative is just too costly.
It seems as though the wetlands disappear, so also does the culture and way of life disappear. And so that's, the main reason why I do what I do as far as education and awareness is to make people realize, that there are livelihoods here. And it's a working wetland, and not just to be preserved for the beauty that it presents, but the way of life that it supports.
For Captain Wendy, this precious swamp represents just how important the fight against coastal erosion is. Wendy doesn't want to see this swamp disappear, and after spending a little time here, I can certainly see why.
Well, thank you so much.
You're
for
very
a
welcome.
Great fishing trip.
Good. It was great having you.
And some education, too, to go along with it.
Good. My pleasure. Thank you very much. Come back anytime.
Oh, I will be.
Okay.
You call me when the fish are biting again,
okay.
and I'll be here.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you.
Magnificent mansions, tiny churches, historic sites, mysterious places. No matter what your taste, you'll find it here. Come to the heart of plantation country and the soul of the Atchafalaya. Come take a ride in Iberville Parish, where the destination is the journey. Track tips for street riding with Jamie James, brought to you by Yamaha. See the entire Yamaha line at Friendly Yamaha.
Only one motorsports company can say all this. Yamaha, the first name in motorsports. Be the first to save big at the Yamaha Time to Ride sales event.
See the entire Yamaha line at Friendly Yamaha, Baton Rouge.
I believe she's already having fun. I don't think she's going to have any trouble at all adapting to a sport bike.
That was fun.
The majority of single motorcycle crashes, both on the street and on the track, occur when riders lose control of their machines in a curve. The primary reasons: too much speed and not enough traction. Jamie says before negotiating a curve, we need to be at the proper speed and in the right gear. Plus, we have to slow the bike down as smoothly as possible. And that requires a technique Jamie calls blipping.
And just go up through a few gears, and when you get ready to let off the gas and downshift, you just pull the clutch, give the throttle just a little blip, and the foot goes at the same time. Boom, boom.
To help me understand the music of blipping, I took a ride with Jamie to see how it sounds and feels.
Okay, I thought I was close to doing it, but I wasn't even close to that.
It just smooths out the transition between gears, and it helps it slow down.
Oh, it slows down. I can't believe how much you slowed down.
According to Jamie, blipping the throttle is something we can practice every time we ride. And he says once you get the feel of it, it just comes naturally. But entering turns at the right speed is just part of the equation. We also need to learn how to maintain maximum traction, and that requires a little dancing in the saddle. No wetlands ride would be complete without sampling some of the incredible seafood and other great Cajun delicacies you'll find in Terrebonne Parish. And no better place to do that than Schmoopie's on Grand Caillou Road in Dulac. The seafood has got to be fresh at Schmoopie's. After all, the shrimp boat is tied up at the back door. Captain Wendy recommended we try the seafood gumbo at Schmoopie's, and we're certainly glad we did.
That is delicious. Ooh, spicy too.
Also good were the homemade shrimp cakes served with coleslaw, white beans, and a roll. The food was so good I had no room for dessert, even though they served Snickers pie. There are tons of great places to eat in Terrebonne Parish, and we sampled a lot of them. But if you want good food and a slice of real Cajun culture, you'll want to spend a Friday evening at the Jolly Inn in Houma. Owner-musician Werlin Prosperi has created an authentic Cajun experience here. The food is great and home-cooked, but it's what takes place when the dishes are cleared that makes the Jolly Inn so special. What takes place here is what Cajuns call a fête aux dos. Fête aux dos is a phrase Cajun women would tell their sleepy children, sort of like Betty Bye. But the children were having just as much fun as the adults at this dance party, and everyone is invited to join in. I'll have to admit, this is as close as I'll ever get to anything that has to do with washing clothes, but what fun! got a lesson in Cajun dancing and a certificate naming me an honorary Cajun.
It took me 30-something years to be an official Cajun.
Hey, maybe I am related to the folks at Robinson Canal. The Fado dance party only lasts till 10 o'clock, and that's a good thing, because by then most of the grown-ups, myself included, were pretty well worn out and ready for bed. Funny thing though, little Diamond here was just getting started.
LA Rider, America on Two Wheels is brought to you by the Louisiana Office of Tourism Trails and Byways Program. Louisiana is full of stories. Yours begins here. Southeast Louisiana Gumbo, great roads, interesting destinations, and terrific food. Come to Southeast Louisiana. And Houma, Louisiana, your passport to adventure in the heart of Louisiana's wetlands. Also brought to you by Iberville Parish, the heart of plantation country and the soul of the Atchafalaya. Closed captioning of America on Two Wheels is sponsored by Ball Insurance. Ball Insurance compares rates for you so you can save up to 40% on your motorcycle insurance. Call toll-free 800-444-7014 and let a Ball agent help you start saving today. Or visit us online at ballins.com.